Greetings, math fans. All right, so this is worksheet 6, and I kind of used this, did a few of the problems for your notes, and then you're supposed to finish the rest for homework. But I'm just going to actually make a video on how to do all 5 of these problems, and just go over it. Okay. So first of all, these are all quadratics. They all have x squareds. So the first thing you do, you got to find the vertex. Okay. So the vertex is, if you remember the x coordinate of the vertex is basically opposite of b over 2a. Got to remember that. So I'm going to kind of write this, well, here, just write this on top. So x, again, this is the x coordinate of the vertex. Okay, opposite of b over 2a. And remember, it's y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so the term with the x squared is the a, and the term with the x is the b. We don't even use c to figure this out. All right, so in this case here, a is 1, b is 4, c is -5. Okay, so again, I'm going to say x equals opposite of b, so -4 over 2 times a, 2 times 1. So -4 over 2 is -2. And so remember I told you guys, when you're trying to find the y coordinate of this vertex now, I'm going to write this out. Y is equal to, and wherever I see an x, I'm going to put a parenthesis. Okay, and then I'm going to put the -2 in here. So guys, if you type this in exactly the way it is in the calculator, exactly, with the parentheses, everything, parenthesis, -2, close parenthesis, squared, plus 4, parenthesis, -2, close parenthesis, -5, and then hit equals, you will get -9. Try it. Okay, but it's really easy to do to get the right answer. So your vertex is -2, -9. Okay, axis symmetry, super easy. You just take that x value, so it's x equals -2. You have to tell me x equals. If you just say -2, it's wrong. It's got to be an equation. X equals -2. And remember, guys, you look at the value of a. If a is greater than 0 or positive, it opens up. And if it opens up, think about it logically. If it opens up, that means that's a minimum. And if a is less than 0 or it's negative, then it's going to open down. It's going to look like this. And then that is a maximum. Okay? So you got to know that. So that kind of answers your question. Well, in this case here, a is +1. So it is going to open up. And the vertex is then, of course, going to be a minimum. Okay? X-Intercept. Basically, you set y equal to 0. And this is from yesterday's lesson then. If I set y equals 0, I get x squared plus 4x minus 5 equals 0. So it equals 0. And then you're going to use your x method to factor. So you got -5 and 4. So it's going to be +5 and -1. So you actually get x plus 5, x minus 1 equals 0. And so each of these gives you, like this one gives you x equals -5 and x equals +1. So please put it as a coordinate. So it's -5, 0, and 1, 0. Okay? And then the last thing is the Y-intercept. Well, I shouldn't say the last thing. The Y-intercept is you set the x equal to 0. That's actually easy. I'm going to put here easy. Because you just set x equal to 0. And that's easy. So you just do that. You get y is equal to 0 squared. Plus 4 times 0. So basically, anything with an x cancels out. And then -5. So really, you just have this -5 here. So it's 0, -5. Okay? Domain, for every single quadratic problem, every single problem with an x squared, the domain is going to be -infinity to +infinity. Now, it's called interval notation, which you'll see on the final exam. And what that means is this. So the less than, these signs here are these parentheses here. This is not a coordinate. It just means from -infinity to +infinity. It's called interval notation. It's just a way that Harper actually describes it. Okay. So that is the domain. And domain is basically x values. So in other words, you can put in any x value you want. So this is x values here. And I can put any x value. Any x values is kind of good to go. Okay. Now, before I find out what the range is, and by the way, the range is y values. Okay. I'm going to graph this. So we have all these points, and let's plot these points. You have -2, -2, -9 is here. -5, 0 is here. And 1, 0 is here. And 0, -5 is here. Okay, so we got some good points there. And then we plot, or we graph it. And it's kind of a bad, rough graph. That's okay. Okay, so that's the graph. Now, what are the y values? Do you guys agree that the y values go from this point right here, this, which we call it our vertex, it's not drawn super clear, but from the vertex there, and it goes up. Okay, so that means the range is going to go from -9 to infinity. Right? It's going to start, so this basically a bracket means less than or equal to. It basically means includes the -9, which of course it does. And you put parentheses always, always, always on infinity because you never can make it to infinity. Okay, infinity is not really a number. You approach infinity. I've been there like 2 or 3 times, okay? But most people, you just can't get to infinity. And actually, one of my friends actually is weird. One of my friends actually was beyond it. I don't know if you guys know, his name is Buzz Lightyear. Anyway, you always, always, always put parentheses around where there's infinity. And when they're, basically, for this range, you put a bracket. Okay, so this is a bracket right here for range. Always, always, always. Okay, so notice that this is -9 with a bracket to infinity, and if it was going to point the other way, opening down, you would actually have whatever that number is, 5, or it would be like -infinity to 5. So we'll do an example. The next example is opening down. Okay, but let me just get rid of the red there. And anyway, that's what your graph is. Okay, so we kind of went through everything. I'm going to go through the others a little more rapidly now because I want to make sure, just want to get through it all. Okay, so here we go. The first thing is the vertex. Well, A is -1, B is -2, and C is equal to 3. So opposite of B, so this is x coordinate opposite of B, which is 2 over 2 times A, which is -1. So it's 2 over -2, which is -1. Okay. The y coordinate, so it's y is equal to, and again, I'm going to put parentheses where I see a variable. I'm not even going to put anything in it yet. Okay, so now I'm going to put a -1 here. And you're going to put that in your calculator just the way it is with all the parentheses, and you should get y is equal to 4. Okay, so my vertex is -1, 4. Axis symmetry, super easy. X equals -1. A is negative. So it's going to open down. So down. And the vertex then, of course, is a maximum. Okay. X-intercept, -x squared minus 2x plus 3. Got to set it equal to 0. Now, the deal is you don't want to deal with a -x squared. That's brutal. So you can either move everything to the other side by adding x squared, adding 2x, and subtracting 3. Or you can divide everything by -1. And I'm going to divide everything by -1. That's going to make it x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, and again, just because I want to get going here, using the x method, but you get x plus 3, x minus 1. Those are your values. So x equals -3, x equals 1. So my x-intercepts are -3, 0, and 1, 0. Okay, y-intercept is super easy. You just set x equal to 0. So if you see that, you just get 3. I mean, here it is, 3. So it's 0, 3. That's actually really easy. And the domain, always, 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 -infinity to positive infinity. Always, always, always. Okay, so let's graph it before we do the range. Because remember, the range is y values. So let's plot these points that we just came up with. -1, 4. So right here. -3, 0. 1, 0. And 0, 3. So those are your points. and you can see the graph looks like this. Again, always peek at the vertex, right? That's the peak point. Okay, that's your graph. So what's the range? Well, do you guys agree the range is from negative infinity, because here's negative infinity right here, way down, right? You're going way down, that's negative infinity, all the way to the y-coordinate of the vertex, which is 4. So you're going to tell me that, that the range is going to be from negative infinity to positive 4, always with a bracket, always, always, always. Okay, well, that's not bad. Okay, so again, just getting rid of this extra schmutzky stuff here. That's what the graph looks like. Okay, on to the back here, or the second page. Vertex. So in this case here, B is missing, so B is 0. So X equals 1. I'm sorry, X. A equals 1, B is equal to 0, and C is equal to negative 4. So it's opposite of B, so negative 0 over 2 times 1, which is 0. 0 over anything is 0. Doesn't matter if negative or positive, right? So it's 0, comma, and then the y-coordinate, if I plug a 0 back into there, that's actually easy, because I get 0 minus 4, so I get negative 4. So that's my vertex, is 0, negative 4. So that's pretty mellow. Axis symmetry, x equals 0. Okay, now you get a look, and it's A is positive. So it's going to open up. And so if it opens up, that's a minimum. So it's up, and it's a minimum. Okay? The X-Intercepts, set y to 0, so x squared minus 4 equals 0. That's a difference of 2 squares. So you get x plus 2, x minus 2. So x equals negative 2, and x equals positive 2. So there we go, negative 2, 0, and 2, 0. Y-intercept, super easy. Put it as 0 in for x, and you just get negative 4. So it's 0, negative 4. Okay, the domain, negative infinity to positive infinity, always, always, always. And let's go ahead and graph it. So I'm going to plot these points, 0, negative 4. It's right here. Ah, not there. It's negative 1. So let me get rid of that. So 0... Negative 4 is right here. Okay. Negative 2, 0. Right here. 2, 0 is right here. So that's it. And then 0, negative 4 we already plotted. Okay, it's cool. So here's your graph. Okay. Not that bad. So now what can you tell me about the range? You guys agree the range is now from negative, or it's from this point right here, right, which happens to be negative 4. So bracket, negative 4, and it's going up. Go up to infinity. There you go. Okay. Not bad. Let's do the next one. A is negative 2, B is 4, and C is 0. So opposite of B, so negative 4 over 2 times negative 2. So it's negative 4 over negative 4, which is positive 1. And I plug that back in, so y equals negative 2 times 1 squared plus 4 times 1. Again, you put that right in your calculator, and if you do that, you get that equal to 2. So your vertex is 1, comma 2. Axis symmetry, x equals 1. Since A is less than 0, that means it's going to go down like this, which means this point up here is our maximum point. So it's going to be opening down, and it's our maximum point. Okay? To figure out the X-Intercept, negative 2x squared plus 4x equals 0. Now, guys, you got to take out at least an x. You should know how to take out an x. Greatest common factor. I'm actually going to take out negative 2x. So if I do that, I get negative 2x, and then parentheses, I get just x here and minus 2. Okay? So negative 2x equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. So this one, if I divide by negative 2, I get x is 0. That's easy. And this one, I add 2 to it, I get x equals 2. So those are coordinates. So it's 0, 0, and 2, 0. And the y-intercept, I got to put a 0 in for x. So do you see everything cancels? So I actually get 0. So it's 0, 0. The domain, negative infinity to positive infinity, always, always, always. Okay, and then the range, well, let's go ahead and graph it. Okay, so we have 1, 2, and 0, 0, and 2, 0. I think that's it, okay? So this is kind of what my graph looks like. That's cool. All right, so what would you tell me the domain is? Where does it go from? You guys agree it goes from negative infinity. So negative infinity with a parenthesis. And where does it go up to? Well, it goes up to 2. Y equals 2. So 2, and then with a bracket. So negative infinity all the way to 2. Okay? Last problem. A is 1, B is 2, and C is 1. So it's opposite of B. So x equals opposite of B over 2 times A. So 2 times 1. So it's negative 2 over 2, which is negative 1. And I plug a negative 1 into there. Again, y equals negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 plus 1. Okay, and that's going to give us 0. So my coordinate is negative 1, 0. X is symmetry. Easy. X equals negative 1. Okay, it's an A is greater than 0. It's positive, so it's going to open up like this. So it means it's going to go open up, and the vertex is going to be a minimum. Okay, X-intercept, set y equals 0. So x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals 0. Now again, use the x method. If you did that, you would get this. Basically x plus 1, x plus 1. So x equals negative 1 and negative 1. So really, you don't say it twice, but x equals negative 1. I don't really care about this other one because it's just repeating itself. So my x-intercept is negative 1, 0. And then to find the y-intercept, remember I set x to 0. So set x to 0. And if I do that, I get 0 squared plus 2. I get basically 1. So it's 0, 1. That's the y-intercept. Domain is always negative infinity to positive infinity. And let's do the range before we get any further. Negative 1, 0 is the vertex. So negative 1, 0. The x-intercept is negative 1, 0, and 0. That's it. It's just one x-intercept. And the y-intercept is 0, 1. So that's all the points you have. But remember that vertex is your low point or your high point. In this case here, it's opening up. So that happens to be our low point. And so graph looks kind of like this. Okay, so what's my range? From y value of 0 with a bracket all the way to infinity. That's what it looks like. Okay? So anyway, know how to graph this stuff and know how to figure out intercepts and domain range and does it open up or down and X is symmetry and and then you're good to go. Right, my fans? That's it. Have an outstanding day. Adios. Goodbye.